What's up guys, I hope you're doing well. Today I'm going to talk about the 6D Mark II and talk about the top 3 features that I like about this camera. Here we go. So I've been using the 6D Mark II for a few months now, and I must say that even though people might say it's underrated or it's not as good, I think it sits really well in the full frame range. Obviously you got the 1DX Mark II, which is at the top of the range. You got the 5D Mark IV, and then you've got the 6D Mark II. And I must say the features that come with the camera, even though it doesn't shoot 4K, is still a strong contender with the features that you get with the camera. So I wanted to go through some of the features that I found really helpful using it over the past couple of months. So after using the 6D Mark II for a few months, I must say that I've really enjoyed certain features. And there's some of you guys out there that are thinking, should I upgrade to a 6D Mark II, or should I include that in my kit? Or maybe you're just looking for an all-round great camera. Well, I'm hoping that these top 3 features that I've really enjoyed would help you make that decision. So the first one is 4K. Well, it's not straight 4K out of the camera, but it is the 4K time-lapse. With the 4K time-lapse feature, it's really quick, really easy, and really simple to set up and to set your parameters. You'll have features that you can change, such as interval, the number of shots, and it also gives you an indication as to how long your time-lapse will go for and what your final playback duration will be. I find this really handy when you just want maybe 10 seconds worth of time-lapse, or maybe you want 30 seconds worth of time-lapse. You can dial in those settings and see what your final duration will be. The other great thing about the 4K time-lapse is if your timeline is only 1080p. What you can do with the 4K time-lapse is either create your own animations of panning or zooming in to your footage. It adds even more movement to your shot and more dynamics to your time-lapse. I find the 4K time-lapse a really great feature because even the 5D Mark IV doesn't have 4K time-lapse. It only has a full HD time-lapse. So the fact that Canon included it in the 6D Mark II is a great feature. The second one is autofocus, and specifically the face tracking. I find the face tracking to work really well, and in most situations, it's pretty much on point. One of the main reasons why I bought the 6D Mark II was actually for YouTube. So whatever you're watching right now. All that tracking is from the dual pixel autofocus in the 6D Mark II. The face tracking has been great when we go on those shoots and we don't really want to worry about pulling focus. So whether there's someone on screen all the time, or maybe an interview style kind of shoot, the face tracking has worked really well. And that's something on the full frame cameras that I've found a real pleasure to work with. Along with the autofocus face tracking, you can also tap the screen to focus, and I find that to be a very useful feature when you want to quickly focus on something. The camera is also a full-time touchscreen, which means even when you go into your menus, you can tap and touch the menus that you want to go to, which is actually pretty handy when you don't want to scroll through absolutely everything. And finally, it's the articulated screen. Now this is Canon's first time to have an articulated screen on a full-frame camera. Having an articulated screen really helps when you want to get those low shots and you can tilt the screen up towards you, or really high shots and you can tilt the screen down towards you to see. The screen also allows you to flip it out, which means you can rotate it and actually view yourself if you're recording yourself. Again, I bought this camera mainly for filming and for YouTube, so having a screen that faces the other direction really helps for when you want to film specific things or even frame yourself in the shot. I also get a lot of questions from people looking at buying a full frame camera, and they ask, should I get the 6D Mark II or should I get the 5D Mark III? Both these cameras are great, but obviously the 5D Mark III is a little bit older. In terms of features, obviously the 6D Mark II has a few more features over the 5D Mark III. When people ask me which one should I get, I would usually gravitate towards the 6D Mark II. And sometimes the people who ask are people who might be a little bit shorter or maybe a little bit more petite, and they're really thinking about the articulated screen and the fact that if they were to shoot something higher, they can tilt the screen down toward them so that they can see the shot. And even if height isn't a restriction for you, you can really get those high shots and tilt the screen down toward you to see what you're actually shooting. So after using the 6D Mark II for a while, I must say that those three things make a pretty big difference when choosing what camera I want to take out. So there you have it guys, my top 3 things about the Canon 6D Mark II that I've liked about its features and the things that you can do with this particular camera. I hope that this video has been helpful, and if it has and you've enjoyed it, go ahead, like and subscribe, and I'll see you at the next one.